Greetings, R. Frederick Riddle here, and today we are in session 2 of the Basic Authors Training Seminar. And so, first of all, I want to do is take a review of yesterday's. Yesterday we talked about genre. That was our primary subject at the time. And we talked about that and how you can go about using Google search to find your genre that you are, and most likely there's more than one. You can usually find 2, 3, or more genres for just one book, and so that's what you want to identify because it's going to help you in writing, and later on it's going to help you in your marketing as well. So that is the basics we were looking at yesterday, and we talked about how in my case, for instance, I use the fact that I'm a historical fiction. Some of my books are Bible-based. For instance, I have a series of books, 6 books altogether. The World That Was is the name of the series, and it takes different Bible characters, starting out at the very beginning with Adam and Eve. So it actually has a lot of characters in that very first book called Perished. And then the ones after that are based on individual characters such as Noah and Shem and Abraham. You go all the way down to the very last one, which is Joseph. So you have, that is all under historical fiction. And that is something that we will be diving into in the course, because you need to know not only who you are as a person, but you need to know what your genre is, where your focus is going to be. So that will help you identify how to write your plot, the characters, everything about your story is going to be reflected in that genre. On top of that, when you get down to marketing, you're going to be focusing on people who want to read books in that genre. So it's a very important decision, and it's best made early on, preferably before you even write your first book. Speaking of which, I encouraged you at the very end to start writing. Write out your plot. If you haven't done it yet, write out your plot. Now we'll have a lesson in the course on plotting. You can always change your plot. But it's a good idea to start putting things down now so that you understand where you are going, what you're thinking, and so you have sort of like a guidepost, if you will. So that brings us to today. And today we're going to be looking not at, let's see, here we go. We're going to be looking at, we're done with genre, so we're going to take that off. What we're going to look at today is grammar. Now that doesn't sound very exciting. But when you consider grammar includes, wait for it, AI, artificial intelligence. And so I'm going to touch on that. I'm going to touch on that today. So what we want to do is we want to start looking at that. Now, I use Microsoft Word for most of my writing, and it has a built-in grammar program within it, which may or may not be related to Grammarly. I've read different things that seem to suggest that it is. In either case, they have very common characteristics. And they have advantages and disadvantages. And one of the things I want you to see as far as advantages are is that it will spotlight. So let's put that down here. It's going to spotlight errors, both real. And I want you to listen to this next word. Possible. The thing I want you to understand right up front about a grammar program, this is not a person you're talking to. This is a program, a computerized program that will analyze your writing and make suggestions. AI itself is the same thing. You might say it's on steroids. But the thing is this: it doesn't know you personally. It reads your writing. It forms opinions about you that are institutionalized in it. So it has, like, you think of it as a box, and it says, or this person is very formal, so it checks that box. Or maybe instead of being formal, it says uneducated, and it will check that box. And if you're familiar with AI, that's exactly what AI does. You can actually train AI to understand you, to write like you. But, and here's the very big but. Anybody that I've ever talked to, and the AI is still in its infancy, but everybody that I've ever talked to or listened to says that it's not exactly you. It's copying you. It's aping you, if you will. What it is doing, it is taking your writing, looking at it, analyzing it, and saying, well, this is how he sounds, this is how he thinks, so on and so forth. And it can create content that reflects all those ideas and concepts that it has absorbed. And it may sound like you. On the other hand, if you're going through it and reading it, you may say, oh, I would never say that. I would never do that. You will find that it's not an exact thing. So you got to be very, very careful about using anything that is AI related. Grammarly, before they ever thought of the word AI, before that ever came into our vocabulary, you have these word checkers, was what they used to be called, word checkers, so forth, and Grammarly, they're checking your grammar, and it was very rigid, and it's gotten more and more flexible as time has gone on. But the thing is this: when it looks at your book, when it looks at your content, and it says, and then underlines it. Different programs may use different ways of highlighting, but in Word it will underline it. And you go on there and see what it is. So sometimes it's just a word they don't know. They try to keep up their dictionaries to the current, but they're not the total. And besides that, in my case, I quite often use a Bible dictionary. And some of the words that are in the Bible, especially if you use the King James, which is what I use, then you come up with words that they just don't recognize anymore. So you have to be very, very careful. When I first started using Word and I ran into this, it irked me a little bit because I knew that was a real word, but they didn't like it. And so one of the features, one of the benefits we're going to look at here later on is the personal dictionary. But I was looking at that and I was, well, wait a minute, this is not an error. And so I would have to learn to ignore it. And that is the thing you have to understand. This is your book. You decide whether that word is correct or not a program. The program is going by grammar rules, if you will. Well, you've heard the old saying, rules are made to be broken. Well, with an author, a lot of times you have to break the rules, especially if you are working with vocabulary. You have a character who is talking. Well, people, you and me, we don't talk according to grammar rules. We simply don't. If you do talk like that, you're probably a college professor, and even college professors don't always talk grammarly perfect. So the thing is, when you're going and you're getting this information, think of it as a suggestion. And then when you do that, now you look at it and you say, oh, here's my content. Does this fit or does this not fit? If it fits, then maybe you can change it. Or maybe if it doesn't fit, maybe they pointed out a real error and you say, oh yeah, they're probably right there, but I don't like the word they're using. So you like the word that you used, but it doesn't fit into the paragraph, for instance, that you wrote. So you rewrite the paragraph in a way that matches what you think you want and includes that word. So they have a value. These programs have value in that they will highlight possible errors. You decide whether it's real or not and what you're going to do to fix it. They will help you. You can work with them and they will help you. Just remember, you're the one in authority, not them. You're the one who's writing the book. So, check your content. What is the meaning that you want to convey? Excuse me. What is the meaning that you want to convey to your reader? And that is an overriding rule there, an overriding thought process that you should have. Now, there are others who will disagree with me on this and say, oh, no, you go with what Grammarly says and so on and so forth. I have found that is very restrictive and does not, some of the things in which words that they throw at you, back at you, are words that just simply don't even fit the context of what you're writing. They're going to make errors. What they're doing is flashing a warning sign. Caution, caution. Look, take a look at this. Is it written the way you want it? Is that the word you want? Do you want it to be singular or plural or whatever? And so that's the thing that you want to do. That's one of the big advantages of having a Spotlight program. Excuse me, I have a little bit of frog in my throat, it seems. So that is something I wanted to really nail down for you. That's a tool. That's all this is. This is a tool. It is not the director of your writing. Think of it as a tool. Another tool that comes with this is, aside from spotlighting, is called a personal dictionary. Now, this has become with me a very important tool. In my early years of writing, I did my own editing, even though I knew nothing about it. And why did I do that? Because a lot of the publishers out there, they will take their grammar books and so forth, and they will only go with, if they do the editing, there is a good, strong possibility that that's what it's going to focus on. And so, like I said earlier, I use King James Bible. If I was quoting a King James verse, I would quote it exactly, word for word. And the thing is, that would have failed their grammar test because today's English is different than it was back then. And so, if I want, and this can be true, even if you're in another language, you're going to use different rules. And so the thing is this, that here in the English language, we have a lot of different meanings. It can go different ways and so forth. And so you want to be able to use the appropriate word. So a personal dictionary, what that means is not personal, it's just my per dictionary. It's actually a per document dictionary. What does that mean for you? Okay, let's say you're writing two different books at the same time. That's a very good possibility. Maybe not now, but as you develop as an author, you could be doing two books or more. And so you have one book. Let me use myself as an example. I have a book I'm working on right now at the time of this recording, and it's called Moses, Prince of Egypt. And I'm at the same time I'm writing a book about Daniel. Okay, so but at the same time I am also doing doctrinal books that may not have any relationship back to, say, Moses or whatever. I might actually be writing a book about current events. Let's take that. On the one hand, a book about Moses, and on the other hand, I could be writing a book about something that's I have my new thing that I'm getting into is mysteries taking place either now or in the future. The vocabulary is going to be different, the words, the spelling maybe, and so forth. So when you say I have a word that's a King James word, and I put it in my dictionary, is that going to impact my book in a futuristic book, for instance? No, it will not. It's a personal dictionary, personal to that particular document. Now there is a bigger dictionary that the program uses, but the personal dictionary is just for that document. You can add to it. A lot of times when it comes up with an error, it's simply because you're using a word that it doesn't recognize. Now, assuming that this is a real word, you can add it. Or what if it's not a real word? Maybe it's a slang that you want to create. Again, in a futuristic book, you might have a word that you invent. Okay, you can add that to your dictionary. Then that way, when it's doing this grammar check, it'll know it, recognize it, and accept it. It will also do spelling. It will look at your spelling. I know that's, you say, oh, come on, Ron. That's obvious. Well, yes, it is. But what about, say, you have a word in there. Maybe you have somebody writing something down, a note, a message, and there's a word that's misspelled in there. What if you did that intentionally? Well, in that particular book, you would want it to be recognized. And so you would add that to your personal dictionary. How about your style of writing? That might be, now here I'm referring to your fonts and stuff like that you're using. Or the particular, to be more exact, how about the particular style of the flow, the choice of words, the way the conversations take place, and things that the program may actually do that. Especially as you get into AI, it does examine the style of your writing, and it can duplicate it. That has no problem with you using it as a tool, as an assistant. And by the way, one of the things, and we're going to get into AI a lot in the course, but it's going to be constantly changing. What's true today may change by tomorrow. It's just constantly growing. But one of the things that AI does is that it can actually write a book for you. So they're saying, would I do that? No. Can you do that? Yes, you can. Why won't I do it that way? Because, first of all, I'm an author. And that means I'm what they call a creative. I'm not going to look at you and say, well, I wrote such and such a book, when actually AI wrote it. It's just not the same thing. I want my books to be an expression of my imagination, my skills, and so forth. then I can take pride in it. Whereas if it's AI, you know, it's not really you. It imitates you, sounds like you, but it ain't you. You'll pardon the ain't there. That's the personal choice, and you have that personal choice. But there is one other thing, and that is that your publishers, and not just your publishers, but your publishing platforms. For instance, the KDP, Kindle Direct Publishing. Yeah, I think that's what that is. Kindle Direct Publishing. That is a platform that has now become aware of AI, and they're already starting to apply rules. Down the road, those rules may change, but they want you to identify it. Are you is it AI assisted, or is it AI? Do you use AI first of all, and secondly, if you do, is it AI assisted or is it written by AI? If it's written by AI, they have some very strong restrictions, which I think are going to get stronger. Now, all my books, I use research. So in one sense of the word, you could say, yeah, it's AI assisted. That's not what they mean. What they mean is that maybe I had trouble with a particular portion, and I write it out. I have Bing use theirs, or I go to chat and use that or some other AI program, and it writes it out. And so I think, yeah, I like that. So I take it and I edit it so that it expresses my view. But it's been AI assisted. But if I just leave it as it is, it's definitely AI. And that how they differentiate it now and how they're going to do it later on, that can change too. That is something I will have to keep tabs on and keep updating the course to reflect that. And excuse me for my throat. It's dry right now, so that's why that's happening. Okay. In the course, you will use and learn to use AI. That's just and not only that, you'll learn how to do grammar, you'll learn how to edit. Editing is, in fact, we'll cover that editing right here in the seminar. So as we draw to a close here, I keep referring to the course because that's what this whole seminar is about. Basic Authors Training. It's a writing course, and it's put out. It's a product of T&R Independent Books, and you can. It's available now, and you can get it now. There's a possibility that I might provide a discount at the end of this seminar. I'm not going to give it now, but you might decide you want it now. That's fine too. It's actually on sale right now. So the thing is, you can get this by going to trbookservices.com. You can go into the store, TR Bookstore, and in TR Bookstore under Writing, a department called Writing, you will find this course. And you can purchase it as a full price or as a subscription. Both are the same program, which lasts for 12 months. So that is something that you might want to consider doing. But whether you buy now or buy later, I would encourage you to stick with this seminar because it's going to give you a feel for what to expect. And some of my lessons are already been done. They're ready for you to apply, but I might change them in the future to reflect. I kind of like doing it this way, and I might do that more in the future. But in any case, Basic Authors Training is about you and how you can use different things, tools, to help you be a better writer. We've now looked at genre, and now today we've looked at this session, we have looked at grammar. And this leads off to a lot of different areas. generally coming under editing. There's a lot of different, and there's editing itself can be broken down into different features, which we will get into when we get into editing. So the thing is, you are getting some valuable information now that you can use. You don't even have to be a part of the Basic Authors training course to use them. These are truths. These are tools that I have learned to use over the years, which you can use starting right now. And you may be using them to some degree. What I want you to know is that you can do more with them. And that is what Basic Authors training is going to do, is take you deeper into them. And we'll look at different aspects of them and examples that I might bring up and so forth, just to help you understand it clearly. For AI itself, I did not understand or what AI was. I would get stuff, I would download stuff, I'd look at it, and I'd scratch my head because it just was not clicking. Now that could mean I was just plain stupid. But I bet you there are a lot of people like me who they see it and they think they understand it, but they're just not quite grasping it yet. Well, I'm going to help you grasp it. And there's something that in AI that, and in another subject is avatar. We'll be looking at that a little bit in this seminar. These are subjects that are subject themselves to interpretation and application. And I will share with you some things that I have learned suddenly, usually not by myself. Sometimes it was somebody, a friend who knew what they meant, or maybe it was just in trying to explain something, and they used a word that when I looked it up, I thought, oh wow, yeah. Or sometimes they, in one case, the phraseology that was used was just a simple sentence, but it opened up my whole world on how to use that particular tool. So that is what I'm here for, is to help you. And as your personal coach, if you get into the BAT and you'll be getting me as a coach until the day I decide to hire some other people to do coaching. I'm it. But the thing is that you will get the best of my knowledge. And you will get also the knowledge of other people who have fed into me. And so I might even refer to other people. Generally I don't, because I don't want to get into divulging information they may not want divulged. But if I know that it's okay, then I will use their name. And so that is something that you can pick up. I might recommend somebody too for you to pick up, because just because you're using me as a coach in the course doesn't mean that you have to keep me as a coach afterwards. Now, hopefully you will. That is something that is an option for you, because coaching itself is not free, and so you want to get somebody who's your coach. And by the way, like in my case, I have a coach in a course I've been taking on another subject, but that coach feeds information into me. And as I go forward, even after I'm done with that course, I'll still have him coach me in that area. And he may have influence in other areas. He's a very intelligent person. And so he himself refers to a coach that he had, who, since I believe he said he's passed away, he may have another coach now. The thing is, we all need coaches, and that is another thing that we will talk about I might talk about it in the seminar. I haven't decided that yet, but it is going to be covered in the course itself. So that's it for today. Remember this: the grammar is a tool, and more, it's an AI tool. It spotlights real and imagined or possible errors, weaknesses, whatever, areas of which need to be looked at and maybe strengthened, maybe altered, maybe even removed. And it has a personal dictionary, which if you look into it, you will find it could be a very valuable tool in itself. So that's it for today. That's it for this particular lesson today. And lesson number or session number 3 is coming up. That is going to be our very next one, and I will see you there. Continue to write. If you've started writing, whether it's your plot or your book itself, continue doing it. Work on it. Keep moving forward. I want to see you succeed. And if you get that start right here in this seminar, then and you succeed in your book, no matter what happens with us going forward, I would like to hear about it, because that would inspire me. Hearing that I inspired you will actually help inspire me as well. You have a great day.